Howdy, partner. Welcome back to the channel.
So how about them Game Awards, huh? Well, it was pretty dang good. I mean, you had a pretty good announcements there. You got your Witcher 4 with Siri.
Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
Shut up, phone. You got your Elden Ring nighttime, sleepy time, whatever time game that was. You got your Oh, Kami sequel, which is really, really cool. And there was so much more, but there was something that we were all thinking when we were watching the Video Game Awards. Man, I cannot believe Elden Ring is going to win Game of the Year again. It's just crazy. I mean, that's not what I meant. But we did think about who was going to win Game of the Year, who was going to take the cake, who was going to get the grand trophy of them all, the star on the tree, who was going to get it, the Game of the Year. But we got more than what we bargained for when literally last year's person who accepted the Game of the Year then, Sven Vincke, the lead person for Baldur's Gate 3, this guy came out on stage to present basically the nominees for Game of the Year, which he didn't really list them. It was like the orchestra did it. But anyway, he had an entire speech that was basically talking about the Game of the Year.
Please welcome last year's winner from Larian, Sven Vincke.
I realize you guys have been sitting here for over 3 hours, but I still have some time credits from last year to cash in, so.
He talks about having time credits because last year there was the big meme of wrap it up, and legit, like he's the Game of the Year award winner, and legit they're like, hey, wrap it up, big old meme. And it was good VGA this year because they totally made fun of themselves on that.
How long is this bozo gonna go on?
Well, that's what I've been asking for the last 10 years.
Oh!
Hey guys, yeah, up here,
Yeah?
host. Yeah, we're we can hear you.
Oh, good. Can you hear this? Boo!
Yeah, please wrap it up.
So it turns out that not only will I be the one who will know as first which game wins tonight, but I actually also know which game is going to win next year, the year after, and the year after. Now, how do I know this? Well, an oracle told me. She said, change is coming.
It was really weird when he was talking about like he knows who's going to win next year and the year after that. My wife and I were kind of looking at us like, what are you talking about? Because it just was very strange. And he kind of talks about an oracle. And we're like, what? What are you talking about, dude? But something that really caught my attention when I was watching this last night was that he said change is coming. And I think we're going to see a little bit of that more in his speech here. Change is coming. Oh, okay. When I heard this part that he was talking about, hey, the Game of the Year winner, they found the formula on how to get up here on stage, and it's stupid simple.
The oracle told me that the Game of the Year 2025 was going to be made by a studio who found the formula to make it up here on stage. It's stupidly simple, but somehow it keeps on getting lost. Studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They created it because it hadn't been created before. They didn't make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve as a brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't meet those targets. And furthermore, the people in charge forbade them from cramming the game with anything whose only purpose was to increase revenue and didn't serve the game design. They didn't treat their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't treat their players as users to exploit. And they didn't make decisions they knew were short-sighted and function of a bonus or politics. They knew that if you put the game and the team first, the revenue will follow. They were driven by idealism and wanted players to have fun. And they realized that if the developers didn't have fun, nobody was going to have any fun. They understood the value of respect, that if they treated their developers and players well, those same developers and players would forgive them when things didn't go as planned. But above all, they cared about their game because they loved games. It's really that simple, said the Oracle.
But somehow it keeps getting lost. And I was like, ooh, what are we in for with this guy talking? What is he about to, you know, unload on us here? This is some deep stuff. This guy, what is he doing? And he goes on to list all these things that this studio didn't do. Things that me and you, as gamers, we're like, yeah, that's what you do. You want to make a good game? These are the things, the bucket list you should follow. It's make a good game based on what you think people are going to play and want to play. Make a game that you also want to play. Make a game not for money, but for the art itself. Make a game, you know, he goes on, and then at the end he says, making a game basically not on any agenda, not to meet some numbers from some big corporation, and not because of politics. He says to make a game that's fun, that you want to play. And, whew, man, that's base, dude. Very important here, too. He talks about the developers themselves having fun. How many stories have we heard over like literally the past like couple of years where the developers are not having fun? They feel like they can't talk. They feel like they can't voice their concerns. This kind of toxic positivity is what one person on YouTube says. That's really awesome. Legendary drops. I agree with all of that. You should be able to have a conversation between developers, and you shouldn't have fear, backlash, or anything like that. And you should be having fun. What are you in here for, making games, if you're not having fun? That's the whole point, right? And yeah, he continues on, and it only gets more based from there.
Winning Game of the Year turned out to be a life-changing event for us. To those who will win Game of the Year 2024, you have no idea what's waiting for you. It's an incredible honor, and you're in for a heck of a ride. Now remember, should you be told to wrap it up for tonight, you can always come back next year and chat for 3 minutes, okay?
I love, he criticizes the Video Game Awards again with the wrap it up thing. Basically saying that, hey, don't worry, if you win this year, next year you get to come back to literally talk some more. I thought that was hilarious. This guy is so funny. And I mean, he did a little bit more than just simply like, hey, here are the nominees, here's the Game Awards orchestra. He literally pissed off everybody in that room. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that he did that, because I don't know about you. If I'm sitting in the audience and I'm hearing this list of things that I should be doing as a team or company, and then my game doesn't win, holy crap, I'm going to be mad at this dude. He just put me full on blast for the entire industry and everyone at home watching. So he's definitely the chaotic evil alignment, and for that I really like him. I think I'd want him a part of my team. Beyond him being mega based, it's no secret that Western game studios specifically have put out just heaps of garbage this year in the industry. I have never seen more games than this year fail, like astronomically, more before. Meanwhile, foreign studios are doing excellent. I mean, look at Canada's Balatro. One dude made a game that everybody is playing. Maybe we can convince that guy to maybe come to America. Come on over. The water's fine. But Sven's comments literally had us thinking like a whodunit scenario in like Clue. Like, oh my gosh, is it Colonel Mustard? What about Mr. Green? Is it Mrs. Peacock? Oh, is it Hideo Kojima? Yeah, Hideo Kojima was there again this year. He's really good friends with Jeff Keighley.
Oh, wait. Huh? There's Kojima, look. Ooh. Did you know that Jeff Keighley's friends with him?
Yeah, but does Kojima know that? Oh, boy.
He looks so upset after the Muppets make that joke on him. It actually, he looks so upset, dude. Yikes. Anyway, we were wondering, who is Finn talking about here? Is he talking about FromSoft? Is he talking about the dude who made Balatro? Is he talking the folks behind Wukong? Like, who is he talking about here? Because he's kind of pointing fingers. Well, we didn't have to wait long, because moments later, after the Game Awards Orchestra, he announced Astrobot was the game of the year.
And the game of the year is Astrobot.
And this is when it hit me. Ah, yes, Astrobot. Interesting. The wheels are turning. Suddenly, the clues aligned. It was not Colonel Mustard with the wrench in the library. No, no, no. It was Team Asobi. The whole time. It was them. It was them. The one Sony exclusive that's not coming to PC. They're the ones that won Game of the Year. Oh, man. Oh, man. Like, take a hint, Sony. Am I right? Take a hint. But Sony is a big corpo, you say. They want money, you said. They're in for profits. You say, what in the Baldur's Gate is Finn talking about here? Well, it became very apparent once the lead designer for Team Asobi came up on stage and said this.
Thank you so much. I'm thinking once again to all the Asobis back in Japan. You know, all 65 of them right now, they're crying. So please, a round of applause for them. Thank you. You know, when I thought about, why this game, gave people joy and smiles on their faces, I think it came down to the people every day making the game and doing exactly that. I think, when I think of the team, it's the amount of generosity they gave. They put the user first always, never thought about any calculation. It was just about the kids, especially, because we had this huge, huge privilege to be potentially the first game to be in the hands of children, and we know what it means very much. Now, thank you. Astrobot is full of 30 years of PlayStation history, and actually a lot of people in this room tonight gave their characters, their IP, without asking anything in return, just because they cared about celebrating 30 years. So to them as well, from the bottom of our heart, thank you so much. And then last and not least, and you want to stay for this one because...
And for the record, Astrobot was my Game of the Year choice too. I know I'm going to receive tons of flack for that. Everyone's like, what do you mean you didn't love Black Myth Wukong? Or what about Metaphor? Or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? I played all of those. I played all of them. And, they were good. But Astrobot was the game I actually loved the most. Kind of crazy. And it's because of this reason right here. I played Astrobot with my wife and 2 kids. My 2-year-old loved this game. He now asks for robots every night. He loved this game that much. When we were playing, we got every costume, every robot, we did every challenge, and we did every speed challenge. We 100% the game. I had the platinum on PlayStation for this game. That's how much we loved this game. I haven't gotten a platinum in PlayStation since Assassin's Creed 2. Yeah, go look up when that game came out. And I loved every second of it. Every single second with it, with my kid in front of me. He had his own controller, acting like he was playing with me. It's a perfect game to play with your kids after a long day of work. Though I really recommend do not give your 2-year-old sugar prior to playing this game. Not a good idea. They'll be like, oh, the entire time if you do that. Don't do that. We'll never go to bed. You'll be playing an all-nighter playing Astrobot if you do that. And that right there is why it won. A lot of the people that probably, were making the choice of what game of the year was, they made the choice based off of that. And the guys that made this game, it was more than just a video game for them. It was a labor of love. And it was a wake-up call to all of the folks in the game industry, including Sony, that this was the kind of game that we wanted to play, that this was the game that we need more of. And I already know what you're saying, and that's okay. You're saying, hey, Papa Goron, the people that select the award, they're all journalists, and they're part of a jury, and they pick the game of the year. It's not the players. I get that. I understand. I know where you're coming from. And I'll admit, these journalists, a lot of them, I don't agree with. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff they put out. I think what a lot of the stuff they do put out is very pessimistic and has a negative outlook on society. But I think they did make the right choice here. They made the good call. I think they made the correct choice in choosing Astrobot as Game of the Year. And that's coming from somebody who is a Final Fantasy VII die-hard fan. I played the original. I played literally every Final Fantasy game, 7 game that's come out, and all the offshoots. And I can tell you that even with Rebirth, I chose Astrobot. Now, that's not to say Final Fantasy VII Rebirth wasn't good. Don't you get that mixed up. It definitely was. But Astrobot was a little bit better, which I'm sure you can kind of understand, you know, what that means if you're a father. But Astrobot was different. It was different than all the other Game of the Year nominations, okay? It was going back to a game that we are so familiar with, that we enjoy, the platforming type of genre, the fun, energetic action, the just whimsical nature of a game, right? And there's a lot of folks out there that actually continue to want games like this because they grew up, like me, loving these type of games. They like these games that are very gamey and just fun. And there are other prominent folks out there that want more games like this, like Falcon from Game Rings. He says about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, anyone who says Indy Great Circle is not fantastic is just trying to sound more refined than everyone else. I absolutely love it. I hope the fact that it's a big budget AAA that seems poised for success is a sign that we are heading back to more gamey games. To more gamey games. Gamey games? Gamey games? What does that mean? Well, when I saw this at the same time, I had actually just finished Astrobot, and me and my son, we were now moved on to playing Sly Cooper. Yeah, you know Sly Cooper? Do you guys remember that game? It kind of is gone, right? It's no longer around. I mean, the PlayStation Network just put out those games to replay, and they upscaled them and stuff like that. But you never hear Sly Cooper mentioned anymore. And he was absolutely correct. We need more gamey games. And what is a gamey game, you ask? Well, I mentioned Sly Cooper already, but Astrobot, it falls into there pretty well. Astrobot to me was exactly that. It let you forget about the world. You were invited to a whimsical, fun adventure, and you got to jump around and have fun, have a lot of laughs, and enjoy the time you had with the game. You didn't have to think. You didn't have to be super into something. It was just a gamey type game. It was fun. It made you forget about the world that we lived in, which sucks most of the time. It didn't preach to you, and it didn't push any sort of agenda. It didn't distract you with any sort of character that had big old honkers or some skimpy outfit, or even just really ugly characters that look nothing like people in real life, and made those kind of characters to appeal to a certain crowd, right? It doesn't try to take your money at every turn. It doesn't have you gamble with loot boxes. It doesn't have any live service, downloadable content that you have to pay for to get ahead. It just wants you. It just wants you to have fun, man. The game industry really needed this wake-up call. It needed to understand that games need to be fun. It needed to understand who the customer was and to make games for them. And that is what Sven really pointed out. This year has been a colossal toxic doo-doo dump of failing games that nobody wanted to play. And even Sony saw it firsthand with Concord, which lost them millions and millions of dollars. Other games like Suicide Squad actually attacked the fans of the IP that they had, completely pushing them away from whatever game they were creating, treating them like they were the enemy versus treating them like the customer. And that's what the industry has forgotten. The industry has forgotten that the gamers are the customer. Astrobot was a real breath of fresh air from all the corporate farts we've been sniffing this whole year. It was a breath of fresh air, so crisp, so clean, that it reminded us of a time when PlayStation was at its best. When PlayStation was killing it with games like Crash Bandicoot, Tomb Raider, Killzone, Ape Escape, the entire Uncharted series. I'd mentioned Sly Cooper, Jack and Dexter. Oh, and here's a really nice one I'd like to see back. It's a little game called Infamous. You know, the first superhero game before we had Spider-Man sequel after sequel. Man, those were the good old days, okay? Those are when games were the best. And if you grew up in the 90s, you know exactly what I'm talking about because you got to see all those games come forth and succeed. That fresh oxygen that we all breathed in, it warmed our hearts like the Grinch realizing what Christmas was really all about. At least, that's what we can hope for. And the award winner went on to actually thank Nintendo without saying Nintendo. Because in doing so, he could actually get in trouble with Sony.
I didn't plan to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know, platformers, PlayStation 30 years, and we made a platformer, which is great. It's very nostalgic and fresh at the same time. But let's not forget that even before PlayStation, there were people making platformers. I remember I was a kid in 1989, Christmas, and I got a gray box. There was a game packed in. It was called Super Mario Brothers, and it was really, really great. So we are in Japan, we're in Tokyo, they are in Kyoto, but I want to pay tribute to the company who really put like platformers and showed us innovation and quality consistently and inspired us to actually make the game that we made. So that's also, and I've managed not to mention them, have you noticed? But you all know who they are, and many other companies that have been inspired over the years, so that's really, really important. And we want to pay tribute to them tonight. So from the bottom of our heart, thank you so much.
How absolutely dumb is that? You cannot compliment the competition because you're afraid to do so because you could get fired. Because the corporate overlords would come down and bring wrath upon you just simply because you're complimenting the next racer in the race. Oh no, we are all competitors and we are appreciating each other. Oh no, what a terrible thing to do. What a silly world we actually live in. But you know, he had the balls to do it. And I'm going to say that is something very rare that we don't see in the actual game industry. People coming out like Sven did and just saying what the writing on the wall is. Of course, there's those brain rot gamers that are all over the internet that are very, very unhappy that Fortnite did not win Game of the Year this year, and instead this Astrobot game won. Yes, those guys are very upset that those people who made a game for kids won. This person over here, what's the point of having people vote if they're just going to hand Sony all the awards just because it's their 30th anniversary? I don't understand how Astrobot won all those awards. Lots of other games got robbed. Now, I will agree that there are some games that were not up there that did get robbed. However, like I said before, Astrobot is a little bit different than all those other games, huh? Which, no, yeah, you're going to find a tweet here and there talking about how people are really upset Astrobot won, but do yourself a favor and go on your social media, type in Astrobot, and see how many people are actually very happy Astrobot won. And that's what I mean. I think there is a change happening. I'm very optimistic about the future. I understand what Sven Vincke is talking about here. This was a wake-up call to everybody. This is the turning point. This is when games are going to get back to their roots. It's going to be back to the customer being the focus of these video games. And that customer is more than just simply a transaction, more than just a metric on some spreadsheet. The gamer rightfully points out, Astrobot is the Game of the Year winner this industry needed. Goes on to say that Astrobot was the one that deserved it more than anyone else. And I absolutely agree, it does. This needs to be the thing. This is what is changing. It wakes everybody up. And I agree with what they said here. You know, you can argue that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Metaphor or Fantasio, both fantastic games, ambitious, gigantic, huge games, should win something like the Game of the Year. However, Astrobot, he goes on to say, feels amazing to play and emphasizes the pure joy that comes from picking up the controller and losing yourself in another world. There were times when I played Final Fantasy VII, I was taken out of that game. There were times in Metaphor I was taken out of that game. But Astrobot, when I sat down with my family to play it, time would go away. That game, it even though it took me only 20 hours to platinum, felt like I had played 80 hours. Are you sure you're going to talk about, well, it's not actually 80 hours. You didn't spend that much time in there. And you're right. I didn't spend that much time in there. I spent like 20 hours at the most in Astrobot. However, the content within those 20 hours was worth the price of admission for $50. And just the feeling you get from playing the game in the platforming and then the nostalgia trip you get through it is just wonderful. It's whimsical. It's fun. And I say that this game made you forget about real life for a while. I haven't played a game like that in quite a bit. I think many of us got that breath of fresh air, you know, coming off of things like the Dustborn farts or the Concord mystery deli meat that you're smelling. And some of those gamers that got that fresh air were journalists, were developers, the consumer, which has been forgotten about. And I think everyone is starting to realize it kind of at the same time. Gamers are fed up of the realism of our world. They get up every day to go to work a stupid job, get home, feed their kids, and then go to bed and turn around and do it the next day again. When they get downtime, they likely want to play a fun, cute robot with their family, with their kids, and just have some time away from this world. They don't want to play some knockoff girl, guy, Star-Lord, or whatever Naughty Dog is cooking up and trying to pull here. If you haven't played Astrobot, you absolutely should. You owe it to yourself to play it, especially if you grew up in the 90s and you know what I'm talking about. You know what Falcon was talking about with gamey video games. As for the gaming industry, I hope this was a wake-up call. I hope they understand now who the customer is. It's time to get back to making the games for the customer. That customer is you, it's me, it's every single person that wants to escape this hellish plane of existence and feel like they're somewhere else for a little while. Please, developers, start making games that gamers, your customers, want to play. Gamers including you. Gamers who want to sit down and play a Witcher or a superhero. Some chick fighting aliens in space with some sort of buster weapon. Or even a cute little robot who's just running around and trying to rescue his robot friends. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I want you to let me know down in the comments below the good, the bad, the ugly. What do you think about Astrobot winning Game of the Year? Are you happy? Are you sad? Do you think this is the wrong direction the gaming industry goes? Do you think this is the correct direction? I want to know. Thank you so much again for watching this video. My name is Papa Goron. Merry freaking Christmas. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
National Video Game Day, believe it or not.
Oh gosh.
Favorite video game when you were a kid?
Super Mario Brothers.
Really?
Paperboy.
Paperboy?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I think it was Pong. That was way back when.
My dad had a Genesis, so we played Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, classic.
NBA Jam.
Oh,
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
Space Invaders.
Space Invaders. Classic.
Tasmanian Devil on Sega, like the original Sega.
NFL Blitz.
Ooh.
I think I played a snowboarding one on PlayStation 2. Crazy Taxi on the GameCube. Oh my god, that was my favorite. They had the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody video game online, and that was what I played like all day.
Ninja Gaiden.
Was it?
Yeah.
Pong. That's how far back I go. Pong.
Pong.
The Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. Really?
Fighter.
Can you give us some moves now?
No.
Ocarina of Time.
Oh,